Hey y'all. Hey. I'm like, what do I even say? But y'all, this is my first According to Brit Chit Chat of the year. So if you are a returning subscriber, you know that I post questions on my Instagram for you guys to ask me about my personal life, my opinion on things, my perspective, how would I handle certain situations. And as you know, my channel is According to Brit. So according to me, I give my perspective, my viewpoint. And I've actually owed y'all this video since September, and I never filmed it, and I was just gonna let it go. But I was like, you know what? Content is content. When it comes, and it's gonna come at the right time. So the first question is, y'all, and these are the deepest questions anyone's have even asked me. So when I was getting ready to do this video, and I looked at it, I'm like, first of all, I don't even know how to answer this. So, okay. So someone asks, what have you learned about yourself once you begin the quote unquote adult life? So for me, I feel like I began my adult life once I graduated college. And I would say one of the hardest things that I learned about myself and that I really had to put a lot of work into fixing is that I was a people pleaser. So I'm 26 now, but when I was in college, I went to Morgan State University. So I was Miss Freshman, I was Miss Sophomore, I was Miss Junior, and I was Miss Morgan State University. And so I would say like a part of those experiences, like I was always like in leadership roles. Like I was always serving people. And I really, from day one to my last day in leadership at Morgan, I really wanted to be a good leader. Like that was something that I prided myself on. That's something that I really, wanted to be. I wanted to really leave a legacy, leave an impact. But it really made me a people pleaser. And I feel like that's not something that I realized until I graduated. Like I wanted everyone to like me. I didn't want people to have negative thoughts about me. I wanted to do all that I can to be all that everyone needed. But now that I'm looking back on it, and like I said, I was 18 then, I'm 26 now. So it did take a lot of years to like look back and be like I was tripping. But on that note, I feel like that is something that I've definitely worked through and I've gotten better. And like, I think that when you're in a position where you want the whole student body to vote for you so you can get into this position or whatever, like the idea is that you have as many relationships as possible. And while all of my relationships, I would say that I built at Morgan was very genuine, it's just like, I had to learn that you can't be everything to everyone. Everyone is not going to like you, and that's okay because I don't like everyone. And it's just the reality of life. And I feel like there were times where like I would clearly know someone didn't like me or like had whatever feelings for me, but I would like overcompensate to, fill that void. So that is probably one something that I did learn about myself, that I had people-pleasing tendencies, and that was something that I really needed to get over. And so, yeah. Okay, so the next question somebody asked, how do you manage to stay so positive and so grounded? Y'all, it's crazy that I'm even answering this question in this moment because I am under stress right now. So I don't know, like I don't always be feeling like I'm grounded, really. Like I feel sometimes like when stuff bothers me, it really does bother me. But if you view it that way, then maybe I do be grounded and I do be positive and I don't realize it. But I think my biggest thing is like what I know and I understand that what I go through and what however I'm feeling, especially if it's a negative emotions, it's nobody else's fault. No. Take that back. Because I'm not going to say that it's nobody else's fault. Rewind. It's nobody else's responsibility. That's what I meant to say. Like, if I'm having a bad day or something is bothering me and then I'm with someone that has absolutely nothing to do with the situation, it's wrong for me to then put that negative energy on them and make them be a victim of what I'm really going through. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's one thing in terms of like just spreading positive energy. Like I try my best not to like project, and it's not to say that I don't ever do it, but it's like when I do it, I try to catch myself and I try to go back in moments, they'd be like, hey, like, sorry, I know I was feeling really frustrated. Like, I apologize for how I might have, I just try to really hold myself accountable with stuff like that. Also, I would say, like, the groundedness of it really comes from God. Like, I feel like especially right now, I'm in a really good space spiritually. Like, I feel like I understand more than anything that, like, life is so much bigger than myself. And I know that there is something, i.e. the higher being, the most high God, that is, like, overseeing this whole experience. Like, I understand that I am a spiritual being having a physical experience. Like, I'm conscious enough to understand that. So I feel like while I'm a human and I have my moments, I always am able somehow, some way to go back to, like, my knowing of, like, okay, like, this is bigger than me. Like, what is God trying to teach me? What is God trying to show me? How is God pruning me? What is he protecting me from? Like, I know that, there's something that is bigger than myself. And I truly believe that God's plan for my life is so big. So in terms of how I stay grounded, I allow that to be the forefront of everything, because I know that there's a big purpose for my life. Like, it's just something that I have an inner knowing, with. So that's something that I always try to go back to no matter what. And I would say that's what keeps me grounded. And it's not to say that I don't have moments where I lose faith or I get doubtful or whatever the case may be. But that is what, like, always pulls me back together, even in my lowest moments. Okay. So the next question is, how did I get into acting? So actually, all right. So for me, I feel like I don't really talk that much on my channel about, like, my acting career. So if that's something I feel like I need to talk more about, please let me know. But basically, I've always wanted to be an actress to an extent. Like, when I was younger, like, I remember being in high school and being like, my dream is to be the main star of, like, a really big movie or a really big show or whatever. But I just used to say it and didn't really know that, like, I don't know if I meant it, but I know that something made me want that, if that makes sense. And then, because there was no reason, like, I wasn't in theater, like, like, I know my dad was into acting when he was a little younger, so maybe that is what inspired my experience. But it was honestly something I just always just said. Like, you ever have something in your life where it's like, there's nothing that provokes you to want to do it, but you just want to do it? If you have those moments, pay attention to those things. Like, for example, like, I want to be an Airbnb host. I want to have investment properties, but I want those things because I've come in contact with a certain knowledge or certain experience that be like, oh, this would be good for me. But then there are other things that I want and I desire that truly come from within. So I feel like whenever you have those things from inside, those are the things that most time I feel like it's God or it's your purpose or what you're supposed to be doing. And that's how I felt about acting. Okay, now taking out the deep stuff. So when I moved to Atlanta, like, I knew that this was an entertainment hub to an extent. Like, I knew, like, people be like, oh, that's, like, entertain. Like, people would talk about it, but I didn't know to the extent that it is until I got here. But basically, I was like, okay, well, I'm moving to Atlanta. I always did have, like, media aspirations to work in the industry. But, like, I was like, okay, let me just, like, give it a try. And so I had came in contact with, like, I don't know. It's so funny now that I think about it. Like, I remember right before I left Baltimore, I had a coworker who was getting into acting. And I was like, yeah, like, send me the stuff. That's always something that I wanted to do. And then I met my friend Lulu. And, like, I was like, so what did you do? Like, how did you get into it? And then I literally started the steps. Here's another revelation, right? So people always say, like, I feel like people who are like, I'm gonna use the word because I feel comfortable to do it, and if you want to debate about it, I'm more than happy to have that conversation. But I would say people who are, like, super holy or, like, super Christians or, like, super into, like, the religious dogma, I feel like, or the religious way of life, like, I don't know if dogma is the right word, but super religious people, right? Like, they'll say, like, being in a club, like, if you're a Christian, you shouldn't be in a club, you shouldn't be around drinking and smoking and all of these things. Y'all, if y'all been watching my channel for a while, you know that when I first moved to Atlanta, I was a bottle girl, right? Literally, outside of my friend, I had a conversation with my friend Lulu. I asked her what she did. Then I was working at a lounge, And me and this girl just so happened to get into this conversation, and I was like, I think I want to get into acting. Like, this is what I want to do. I need to have the right steps. Whole time she was an actor. Y'all, to this day, I look back at she sent me 3 long messages. It had a list of great agencies, great classes to take, great places to go get headshots. And at the time she gave me the information, it was so foreign. So I didn't know if it was right or if it was wrong. I just used it for reference. But now that I've been, training and in the mix for about 2 years now, I look back and be like, yo, she really sent me some gems. Like, agencies that I would love to get signed by was on that list. The class that I trained at for 1.5 years was on that list. Where I've gone and got my headshots was on that list. So she provided me with a wealth of knowledge, and I wouldn't have come in contact with that information had I not met her at the time I did. Because literally, I met her, she gave me that information, and then boom, the next day I had like booked my headshots, and then everything was just on from there. But I say that to say, don't feel like, like, if you go to the club, have fun, enjoy yourself, live in boundaries, of course, for whatever that means for you. But don't feel like God can't use you, or God can't use other people to get through you, no matter where you're at. Because to the typical person in the club, I wouldn't have got that type of information. But for me, she gave me information that changed my life and changed the trajectory of things that I was working on. And here I am 2 years later, and I've had a lot of experiences. So there's that. But yeah, that's how I got into acting. So I hope that answered the question. The next question this is the last question that I'm going to answer. It says, what was the hardest question that you've ever had to ask yourself? And what was the answer? And I feel like there were like a lot of hard questions that I feel like I've had to ask myself before. But to be honest, I would say, as much as I would hate to admit it, well, I would say threefold. 3 questions that I've had, the hardest 3 questions I've ever had to ask myself is, am I the problem? Am I insecure? And am I being jealous? I feel like those are the 3, off the top of my head, hardest questions that I've ever had to ask myself. And the truth is, I will be honest to say that the answer was yes to every single one. So am I the problem? Like, I feel like just, it's so easy to like project and say what you feel like other people should be doing, or the way that certain outcomes should be happening. But like, very seldom are we introspective and look back and be like, I actually been talking to this person crazy, or no, I've actually been lazy, or I haven't been consistent, or I actually don't believe in myself, or I don't believe in God, or whatever it is for you. Like, we don't always count ourselves to be the problem. And I feel like it's so easy to be like, well, this person needs to do this different, or I don't like the way that the person handled this, but it's like, but what have you done to contribute to this situation? So I feel like asking myself if I'm the problem, like, that was like a hard pill to swallow in a lot of situations. I feel like asking myself if I was insecure, I feel like that definitely was a hard question to ask myself, because you never want to feel that way about yourself, right? Like, you never want to be like, or admit that to yourself. Like, I feel like insecurities, like, so many of us have them, and I've learned that through life. Like, the more that I've just been like, all right, this is the area that I'm insecure, this is the area that I'm insecure, and like connected with other women. So many people have so many insecurities, and everyone's insecurity, some are small, some are big, but they all impact us in whatever way they do. But that was like a hard, like, I didn't want to like admit that to myself, like, I'm insecure, because I feel like for me, admitting to myself that I was insecure was me admitting to myself that I was like, it felt like I was admitting to myself that I was like less than, or that I was like weak, or that I was like, I don't know, like, I don't know. It just didn't feel good. So, yeah. And then, am I jealous? Like, that was something that I actually, I'm gonna be honest, I feel real weird like admitting this, but that was something that I feel like I like struggled with for a long time, because there was a couple instances in my life at a specific period in my life where I feel like I was experiencing jealousy, and like, that was something that I really did never never wanted to admit to myself. And to be honest, asking myself, am I insecure? Asking myself, like, am I the problem? Those were hard questions, but really asking myself, was I jealous? And admitting to myself that I would say that was probably the hardest thing of them all. Because I don't want to be a jealous person. Like, I don't want to have these insecurities or have these, like, negative feelings towards people, or, you get what I mean? Like, I want to be secure. I want to be, like, happy in myself. Like, I don't want to feel those feelings. Like, but at the time when I was going through that, I also was in therapy, and my therapist helped me to understand that, like, jealousy is a normal emotion or feeling that that a lot of people feel. Like, just the same way you'll feel sadness, just the same way you can feel sadness and that doesn't make you a bad person. You can feel anger and that doesn't make you a bad person. You can feel depression and that doesn't make you a bad person. And those are all negative feelings that hypothetically none of us want to admit to, you get what I mean, or want to experience. But I feel like what helped me come to terms with that, because like I said, for those, when I was asking myself those questions, the answer was yes. And I will say the thing that I feel like made me come in tune with it is, like, understanding just because I'm experiencing a feeling of jealousy in this moment does not mean that I'm a jealous person. You get what I mean? And anytime that I've had moments where I was feeling jealous, I would ask myself, like, okay, what is this showing me? So anytime I feel jealous is because somebody has something that ultimately I want. And I would just allow it to just be that. Like, I'm not envious. I'm not hating on you. Like, literally my jealousy would make me feel like, damn, I wish I had that. But it would never make me feel like, damn, I wish I had that and I don't want her to have that. So I hope that she's harmed because of that. Or I hope that he's harmed because it was never that. It was just always like a mirror to myself of things that I desired. So I feel like when I took the negative connotation off of it, I was able to, you know, like, see it as something positive. Help me to be more in tune with myself. Help me to understand what I want. Like, what I want, what I'm looking for, what I desire. What areas of my life do I need to work harder? Like, okay, I like the way she dressed. Those sneakers that she has that I want, I don't have the money to buy them. What can I do in my life? What side job can I pick up? Do I need to pick up a new job to get more money so that way I can get them? But like I said, like, coming to a realization that jealousy is just a normal emotion. And I think that there's definitely, like, a difference between, like, jealous and, like, envious. Like, I feel like envious is more so when you are wishing bad on a person because of what they have. Just to be jealous is like, damn, I'm jealous. I want that. Like, I want that. That's it. Like, it's just wanting more for myself. Whew. That was hard to admit to y'all. But that is all of the questions that I am going to answer. There are a few more, but I feel like for the sake of this video, I wanted to stay of substance. So I hope that you guys enjoy this. I have not done, this is my first According to Britt of the year. So I'm definitely looking forward to doing more. So if you're not already, make sure that you follow my Instagram. According to Britt is getting active. I don't know about like, it's getting actively outside. That's kind of crazy, but yeah, y'all, I definitely want to connect with y'all and learn and grow with y'all. And obviously, like, something I was thinking about today was, like, I had a podcast for 3 years, which the information is in my bio. The episodes are old, but you can go still check them out. And I was thinking about how much vulnerability I was putting out into the world at that time. But I was like, yo, that's crazy. Like, some of that stuff I was saying, I was like 22, 23. I'm 26 now. So in a lot of ways, I know that my perspective or my feelings towards certain things have changed. And that's okay, right? Like, you got to be where you are and meet people where you are. And that's always going to be something that I could go back to and be like, wow, look at my 23-year-old self and how I used to think. But I say that to say my perspective towards everything that I have stated is true for where I am currently in my life. A year ago, I might have felt different towards certain things. 2 or 3 years ago, I might feel different than I feel now. So, you know, take this, I don't know, some people watch it just for entertainment. Some people watch it to learn and grow. Take it as a grain of salt. Allow what applies to you to apply to you. If it don't apply, let it fly, girl. But I want to know y'all experiences. Like, tell me in the comments, like, have you ever felt jealous? Was that something that you struggle with? Do you battle with insecurities? Like, are you an actor? Like, how did you get into it? Like, you know, I want to hear from y'all. So, but more than anything, definitely make sure y'all follow my Instagram, According to Britt, so that way when I post these, y'all can ask me more questions. And then also know with this According to Britt series, y'all, it don't have to just be questions about my life and my perspective. Like, it could be like, what would you do in this situation type of thing. So I want to hear from y'all both on my Instagram and on my channel. So make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you made it to the end, comment a white heart. All right, love y'all. See y'all next video.